This is the Mets POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the New York Mets. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The New York Mets waste little time getting right back on track. A pair of home runs from Pete Alonso and some excellence from Griffin Canning allowed the Mets to lock up a season series victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers and put them in position to go for another series win over the defending World Series champions. Welcome in to the Mets Postcast here on the Locked On Mets YouTube channel, the Locked On Mets podcast feed. I'm your Postcast host, Chris Schubert, here with you after each and every Mets game throughout the course of the season. Yes, even when it is late night Mets, even when it is Mets after dark, we are here with you to break it all down. And what a fun one it was tonight for the New York Mets. And we don't need to waste any time. It's late. Let's get to it. Let's dive right in. You know what we're going to be talking about. It's a baseball that still hasn't landed yet.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Pete Alonso having an excellent start to the month of June after having a so-so month of May. A pair of home runs tonight, and I think this is going to get lost in the shuffle. The Mets only had 4 hits tonight, 2 of them courtesy of the 2 Pete Alonso home runs, but it doesn't matter when you make the most of your 4 hits the way Pete Alonso did. The 6 runs that the Mets put up, the 39th victory for them this season, doesn't matter how many hits you have in the hit column as long as you score more runs than the other team. A pair of home runs from Alonso tonight, moving his RBI total for the season up to 53. That ties him for first in the National League. We got a ton of Pete Alonso stats for you here. We'll try to get to as many of them as we can. The 447-foot home run that I think we saw it land on the broadcast, but I'm still not sure. I'm going to need some proof that it landed and it didn't actually go up into orbit there in L.A. With those 2 home runs, Pete now moves within 2 of David Wright and 12 from Darryl Strawberry on the Mets' all-time home run leader list. And there is a real serious chance that he does this by the All-Star break. And think of where we were at the end of last season, wondering if Pete Alonso would ever play for the New York Mets ever again. It did not seem like it was in the cards. During the offseason, it felt like the two sides were extremely far apart. They come together, they get this deal done, and this couldn't be going better for both sides. The Mets are getting the best version of Pete Alonso, a Pete Alonso that they didn't get during the regular season last year. And Pete Alonso, with that opt-out in his deal, is putting up some absolute monster numbers. He's hitting 290 on the season, a 386 on base percentage, a 922 OPS. As we mentioned, he's got the 14 home runs. He hit 4 home runs last month in the month of May. He's got 3 already in the first 4 days of June. And so he carried this team in the first month of the season. Then Lindor got hot. And now you are starting to see, truthfully, I think we are on the cusp of watching the 3-headed monster of the New York Mets. Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, and Pete Alonso all get hot at the right time. And we've got a baseball team right now that is 39-23, and those 3 guys have not yet clicked on all cylinders. And it's starting to seem like they are, because this looks like the Pete that we saw at the beginning of the season. This looks like a confident Pete, a comfortable Pete. He's had great at-bats since the calendar has turned. Just awesome to see Pete be this version of himself. I think the last time that we saw this version of Pete Alonso, the rookie year, when he hit 53 home runs, I mean, I've just never seen him this locked in since that moment. It's just been so much fun to watch him be this version of himself, because a lot of talk about Aaron Judge, and Judge is obviously the overall better hitter. He hits for a higher average, plays better defense, all of that stuff. But this is one of the premier power bats in the game. And when he is right, and when he is hitting home runs like he did tonight, again, 447 feet, ball got out of here at a hurry, 112 miles an hour off the bat. When he is locked in like this, he can put on a power show every single night. And you got Cal Raleigh out in Seattle putting on a power show. Pete Alonso's doing it on the East Coast for the New York Mets, and it is fueling this team. They now have won 4 of the first 6 games between these two sides, and Don't know if it will come to blows, but if a tiebreaker needs to be determined between these two teams, if they meet up again in the postseason, the New York Mets get to stick that in their back pocket, in large part due to what this team has done over the last couple of nights. And Pete Alonso leading the way, 5 RBIs, the 2 home runs, again, hitting close to 300, 290 on the season. I see some shout outs for the Soto shuffle, the Soto stare. We'll get to Juan and the rest of the offense here in just a second. We've got to talk about an excellent pitching performance tonight from Griffin Canning. Always want to hear from you as well here during the postcast. So we'll talk about Griffin Canning. We will talk about your thoughts about this game and the rest of the Mets offense, including Juan Soto. Not an extra base hit machine tonight, but did something else that is vintage Juan Soto. So we'll get to all of that here on the other side. Perhaps you find yourself looking at your bank account and wondering, man, where did all of my money go? Whether it's online shopping, it's dining out, it's entertainment. It is easy to lose track. Well, that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO that's going to give you full visibility and control over your finances. Now, Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. Think of it as a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, your investments, and your spending all in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Instead of trying to juggle multiple apps and tabbing in and out, try to see numbers here and numbers there, simplify it. Monarch Money, you can check your finances, track the spending, and even plan long-term goals. Maybe it's not just you. Maybe you're working on some financial goals with a partner. Managing money with your partner, smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances today with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you're going to find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Perhaps you need some help with an order. Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service. You're always going to talk to a real person. And for those trade pros out there looking for that extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and you're going to see discounts on every single order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use our promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Back here on the Mets Postcast, the Locked On Mets YouTube channel, the Locked On Mets podcast feed. And excuse me, I don't normally do this, but maybe we should just take a sip of water here. And you think I should try for a little flip here? What do you guys think? You guys think I'll crash the desk here? We'll leave it to the professionals. We'll leave it to Juan Soto, Jose Siri, Francisco Alvarez, Luis Angel Acuna. We'll leave it to the professionals with the bottle flip. The Mets vibes were immaculate tonight. They were having fun. Luis Angel Acuna was being a catcher in the dugout. There was some bottle flipping going on from Juan Soto and the boys. It was a lot of fun. And I can't tell you the last time that I watched a broadcast where we had a picture-in-picture of the game, but everybody was really paying attention to what was going on in the bottom right corner of the picture-in-picture with Juan Soto and the boys doing some bottle flipping. This team, man. I don't know if it was the late night. We were past 1 a.m. when we were recording the postcast. But, man, the vibes were immaculate tonight, and all in part because the Mets go out there and they pick up a victory 6-1 over the Los Angeles Dodgers. A lot of fun, and what was potentially the most fun, Pete, with the 2 home runs, Soto smiling, flipping bottles, Luis Angel Acuna playing catcher, the job from Griffin Canning tonight, man. What more can you say about Griffin Canning? 6 innings, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, just the 1 walk. And just beyond the numbers, I don't know if you feel this when you're watching the Mets pitching staff right now, but with the return of Paul Blackburn, the news we learned today that Sean Manaea is getting very close to starting some rehab starts, so a return is imminent for him. Frankie Montas is in the middle of rehab starts as we are doing this postcast. You start to watch all of these outings just a little bit closer because the Mets are going to have to make some roster decisions. There's going to be a crunch here with this starting pitching staff. They're already kind of out of their comfort zone. They're carrying Paul Blackburn as a sixth starter in the bullpen, so they're short out there. Not really the ideal way they would want to set this up. Well, that's only going to be magnified when they get Sean Manaea back, when they get Frankie Montas back. They're going to have some tough decisions on their hands. So I'm watching Griffin Canning starts a little bit closer, especially when the last two times out, not ideal performances. Now, that start against the Dodgers that got rained out, that's not on him. I think he would have been able to give us maybe not what we saw tonight, but a solid Griffin Canning performance that gives the Mets a chance to win. That start against the White Sox certainly raised an eyebrow. The 5 runs, the 3 earned runs, only giving the team 3 innings. Again, with these starters around the corner being able to return, it's going to be a razor-thin margin of who gets knocked out of this rotation. And so every one of these starts means more. And for Griffin Canning to go out there, he knows that. If I know that and you know that, he knows the pressure that is on him. He's the guy that's only under a 1-year deal. He's the guy that's not really in the future cards for this team. He's got to go out there and make it just a no-doubter. You can't take me out of the rotation. He has to make it a non-starter. You are not taking me out of this rotation. And tonight's start is one of those starts that it was a message sent to the front office that said, yeah, you're taking me out. Good luck with that. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to blank one of the best lineups in all of baseball. I mean, the Mets carried a shutout in this game up until the 9th inning when Stanek gave up a home run. Griffin Canning was incredible in this performance tonight. Only the 1 walk, and I got to tell you, the changeup that he threw on the full count to Ohtani to get him looking on the inside corner. I tweeted it. You can follow me on X Twitter at Chris Schubert _ reminded me of Jake Diekman throwing that fastball inside that froze Aaron Judge in the Subway Series last year. Big hitter, big spot of the game at that point, and just throwing the best pitch you have and saying good luck. Just to throw that pitch in that spot to that hitter in that moment of the game, man, you tip your cap. We'll tip the virtual cap to Griffin Canning for the job that he did tonight. And yes, make sure we shout out Jose Castillo. If I would have told you at the beginning of the season that Griffin Canning and Jose Castillo would lead the way for the New York Mets for a large part of this game, would you have believed me that Griffin Canning and Jose Castillo would combine for 8 scoreless innings against the Los Angeles Dodgers? Baseball. It's a funny sport sometimes, but Canning did an excellent job tonight, and Jose Castillo was great out of the bullpen. And I see some David Stearns love in the chat. I mean, what more can you say? Canning, a 1-year signing that we all kind of were like, really? I know you had success with Severino. I know you had some success with Manaea, obviously. You're bringing back Frankie. You're bringing back Manaea. You're bringing in Frankie Montas. You're trying to make Clay Holmes a starter from a reliever. Now you're adding a Griffin Canning project, a guy who had a 5 ERA last season to this rotation. Griffin Canning has a 2.90 ERA. And the knock on Griffin has been he really kind of only gives you 5 innings pretty regularly. Tonight, 6 innings of shutout baseball. You can't ask for anything more than that. So it was great to see that start from Canning. And again, continue to apply that pressure to this front office of who are you taking out? Who are you going to remove from this rotation? Juan Soto tonight did not get an extra base hit, so his streak of 5 straight games with an extra base hit gets snapped. But we saw the Soto shuffle tonight, 3 walks in this game. And so even when he is not getting a hit, even when he is not necessarily getting on base or getting those extra base hits, he drove in 1 run tonight. Getting on base with those walks. The Soto shuffle is back. The Soto swagger is back. He's smiling. He's goofing around in the dugout. To me, that is the sign that he is locked in and he is extremely confident at the plate. We did not see the shuffle. We didn't see him smiling too much. We didn't see him having fun flipping water bottles in the dugout with his teammates. He's starting to kind of turn that corner, and as Oliver and a bunch of people have pointed out, the Soto stare. He punched his bat the other day. I believe it was in the Rocky series. Those are the types of things that tell me he is locked in and he knows he's going to be able to impact this game for this team. He is still hitting those grounders, as you just pointed out, Max. That's going to happen with him, but he's starting to drive the ball more. He is still taking his walks, even the ground out tonight. If you're going to ground out, that's the perfect spot to do it. Drive in the run, move the runner over, keep the inning going. So even in that scenario, a productive out from Juan Soto. So all of his at-bats tonight, impactful for the New York Mets. But a 6-1 win for New York. They moved to 39-23 on the season. This team sports the best record in the National League, just behind the Detroit Tigers for the best record in all of baseball. They hold let me just refresh my MLB standings page here just to make sure that we reflect this accurately, holding a 1.5 game lead over the Philadelphia Phillies right now in the National League East. And more importantly, you can put this in the W column for the Mets. They have the season series over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ray wants me to flip the bat again, the water bottle again. I'm not going to flip it because I'm not going to be able to do it. Juan Soto, he just sat around, watched everybody else flip, and he said, I got this one flip. And if this is why you got to watch the video version of the postcast. I got too much water in here. If I flip this, there's too much weight. I'm going to break something, and then the postcast is going to go down in a hurry. We are not flipping the bottle. We did the little bit coming back from break, but that's about it. Max points out Soto in the pitching lab as well. Yeah, we learned that during the broadcast. He's in the pitching lab to try to get better from his throwing in the outfield. Just a great night all across the board. Pete with the 2 home runs, some excellent pitching, the antics, the vibes, immaculate in the dugout for the team, and they take the season series from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Tomorrow, some afternoon baseball. So relax, everybody. Late night Mets baseball, Mets after dark. We're taking a break for a little bit. We don't need to do this. It's after 1 a.m. postcast. We're back to some regularly scheduled programming tomorrow. David Peterson will be on the mound for the Mets as they will go for the series victory, and they will look to make it, what would that be, 5-2 this season against the Los Angeles Dodgers? That would be a monumental statement for this team to make against the defending World Series champions after that's the team that knocked you out in the playoffs last year. To this early in the season, play all 7 games against them, and then, be 5-2 in those 7 games, and you have your best pitcher, one of your best pitchers. It's kind of a coin toss on a regular basis, and the most consistent pitcher dating back to last year, David Peterson, on the mound. Some afternoon baseball to try to go for that series win. That is going to do it for us here on the Mets Postcast. As I always say, if you are new here, subscribe to us here on the Locked On Mets YouTube channel. Turn on that notification bell so that you are notified when we go live. If you're over listening to us in the podcast feed, join us live. You can kind of hear the bottle flip. You can't see the bottle flip. That's why you got to join us over on the Mets Postcast. Before I get out of here, a quick shout out to all of you that have joined us live in person for these postcasts during this late night series. I know it is late for all of us. Shout out to all of you who have showed up for every single game of this series so far for these late night postcasts. They've been a lot of fun, and appreciate all of you joining us. But we are out of here. We'll get some rest. Back at it again tomorrow afternoon when the Mets will try to go for the series win against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Pete Alonso moves ever closer to being the Mets' all-time home run leader. 2 home runs, including a ball that still hasn't landed, led the way for the Mets in a 6-1 victory. See you, everybody.